Be recorded.
Josh, I believe we have a quorum and most everyone here. If you want to get started, that's fine, I think, with us.
So okay, I heard Angel recording. I was ready for me to study if you guys are.
Ready to go.
You are hearing me, correct?
Yes.
Getting some noise from that location.
Okay, thank you. So
good
morning. We want to welcome everyone to the May. Andy, are you speaking to me?
Josh, we're getting some intermittent audio from your location. I'm wondering.
Okay, so obviously we are using technology to conduct our meeting. There may be some situations as we continue.
That won't work.
I'm afraid that Josh's internet connection is.
If you can hear me, would you nod your head, please?
Can now.
But we were not before.
Jackie cannot hear me.
No, we're not getting you, Josh, unless I'm the only one that's not hearing him.
Andy.
It's not consistent.
I'm only getting about every fifth or sixth word from Josh. It's very broken up.
Josh, there's a phone number on this invitation. Is there any way that you'd be able to dial into that for the audio portion? I think we'd get a more consistent, especially with you being the chairperson. I think it's important that we get everything.
I don't know. Jackie did nod her head. So, Andy, you can't hear me at all.
Yeah, Josh, I can only hear you intermittently, like everyone else.
Josh, there's a dial-in number. If you can try that for the audio part, which is 646-749-3112.
Sure. Give me a minute. Okay, I'm going to call in. I'm not sure what's going on. Okay, we had the same problem last time, and yet I use the same computer for all of my Zoom meetings. Yes, I'm gonna get to it. I'm working on that on the other. Yep. Andy and Dennis.
Yes.
Okay, so are you also getting feedback?
No, I think
No.
this is working.
Perfect.
Well, we can't hear you now.
Right?
Can barely hear you. It's more of a volume issue.
Now can you hear me better?
That's a little better.
Okay, I bought in a different phone than my regular phone. I just bought in a phone for a different reason. I'll just speak this way for a minute until I get a break and go change phones.
I can hear you good now.
Okay. All right. So yes, then I can manage this way. Okay, so we're going to start this meeting with all of our technical difficulties. Appreciate everyone being here. So my name is Josh Holman, and I'll be chairing the meeting as best I can. Welcome to the May 28th meeting of the Lafayette Redevelopment Commission. We have an agenda that's in front of us and a quorum to be able to conduct the business of the Redevelopment Commission. I would just remind the commissioners that since we cannot see each other very well, or that if you need to just interrupt to make sure that your question is asked or your voice is heard, please do so. I would suppose that Cindy Mary's in the room or someone to help us with a roll call vote as well.
Yes, Josh, I'm here.
Fantastic. And then when we get to the tax abatements, we'll take a minute and sort of regroup and make sure we know what we're doing when we get to that portion of the meeting. Okay. So I think that we can go ahead and get started. And first item of business are the minutes of the April 23rd, 2020 meeting. I would hope the commissioners have had an opportunity to review those minutes. And if there are no questions or corrections, we would entertain a motion to approve.
This is Shelley. I'll make a motion to approve the April minutes.
Second.
Thank you. Was that TJ? Okay.
That was
No,
Jim.
that was not.
Oh, I'm sorry, Don. I apologize. So we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Oh, I'm
Josh,
sorry.
we need the roll
I'm
call.
sorry. I apologize. Yep. Cindy's going to do a roll call.
Okay.
I
Terry,
apologize.
Aye.
Dean, Henriette,
Aye.
Holman,
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
Okay, minutes approved.
Thank you. Thank you, Cindy. We'll continue on to new business. The first item of business that we have is a public offering of a property on 8th Street. And Dennis, I would presume you want to speak just a bit to this?
Yes, at our last meeting, we approved a public offering for certain parcels of property on South 8th Street that's under the ownership of the commission. And that has been out for a month now, and we have not received any proposals today. So there's no action for us to take at this point. But again, then we have a statutory period that we have to wait for an additional 30 days before we can do anything. But after that point, then we are more free to negotiate with potential buyers. So again, we didn't receive anything today.
Okay, thank you. So should we accept that as a report, and or do we need to table this action item, both or neither?
We really don't need to take any action. The minutes will just reflect there were no proposals received.
Okay.
Thank you, Jackie. Yes. Any questions or comments from the commissioners? Okay, we'll move on to the next topic of business for the meeting today. Core Planning Strategies, a project management agreement. This is an agreement that would occur with the City of Lafayette. And I know that there's a representative of Core Planning Strategies with us today. I also know that Dennis may not speak exactly to this, and probably the mayor will want to speak at some point in time. So who shall start?
Josh,
John, are you speaking for Dennis?
Josh, I think we'll let Deb, I know, is on the line. We'll let her explain the
Okay.
contract and the services she's going to be providing. Again, it's for the new City of Lafayette Municipal Building and parking garage. So I'm going to turn it over to Deb. And at this point, also, I'm going to be leaving the meeting, and John Collier will take over from this point as well. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Dennis. Thanks.
Then
Deb, please go ahead. Yes.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Well, we welcome the opportunity to help make the municipal building a reality for the City of Lafayette. We provide project management services for 6 other municipalities in Indiana, where we provide our technical staff as a resource to you as a project manager, and we help provide the master budget, master schedule, keep things going, help anticipate questions, manage your risk, and really become an extension of your staff, trying to help make things go as smoothly as possible. Obviously, we've been assisting with the with your procurement of the architect engineering team, as well as the procurement of the construction manager as consultant for Kettle Hut and Wilhelm, and which you'll hear later in the agenda. And look forward to the opportunity to again help kind of move the project forward, and maybe most of all be a central manager for all different aspects of the City of Lafayette. For instance, I had a call with Andy this morning talking about the data center requirements, and I'm now transferring that information to the design team. So I'm going to be that central point of coordination that to help make sure that you have the staff in place to make it go smoothly.
Thanks, Deb. Comments and questions from the commissioners regarding the agreement? I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor. Tony, you want to speak now?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Josh. I appreciate the opportunity. I would just add to what Deb said that, you know, building a new police station in the parking garage across from City Hall here is a monumental project for us. It's going to take a tremendous amount of logistics and coordination between all of the construction groups and the trades. And as she said, she's helped us with the process of choosing the architects and the engineers and the other consultants for the parking garage. We went through the process now with to choose Kettle Hut and Wilhelm to be a part of this project. But this is one that is so big and has so many moving parts that there is just no way that Dennis and myself and our city engineer, along with all of the other projects we've got going on in the city, can possibly have the time to manage these day-to-day things that she is describing in coordination with all the different groups, and to kind of be our owner's rep on this. And so, you know, Deb and I've had some long discussions over this, and I've thought through it, and I was very impressed with the way she handled the 2 RFP processes that we just described. And I think that she and her team is going to be a very valuable asset, and I feel that we've negotiated to a fair price for her services. And quite honestly, I think she's going to pay for herself in the long run, with money that she saves us as we go through this process, keeping it well organized and keeping us on task, everybody on task. I honestly think she'll pay for herself before it's over with.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate your support of this particular activity in hiring Deb and her company, Core Planning Strategies. Comments from the commissioners and questions?
Yes. What are your what's your history in regards to the size of projects you've done in the last 5 or 10 years. Is this size project in your wheelhouse?
It is actually. We've been helping the state fairground. The most recent one is the state fairgrounds. We're managing a $50 million project for the Indiana State Fairgrounds right now. So that one's actually, unfortunately, the governor just put it on hold due to the what's going on with the pandemic. But we also are working with IU Health Bloomington Hospital, which is about $300 million. We also have small projects, but a lot of our work with cities and towns is on parking garage projects, which range, and usually they have retail or another component. Yours happens to be a police station. And so those usually range anywhere from about 15 million to 25 million for a typical project with cities and towns.
Thank you.
So I actually, y'all don't have many questions this meeting. I have a couple of questions about this. One of them is probably pretty technical. So under the agreement, starting out with 1.1, it goes to 1.10. At 1.10, it talks about the project manager should develop an overall project schedule and budget. The cost reporting system will be provided by the owner. So Dennis or John or someone, what do we mean by the cost reporting system? Maybe Tim.
So let me just add, Tim, I know, Tim, you're going to answer, add more details to this, but really what that means is when invoices are paid for things that have to do with this project, those are going to flow through your normal accounting procedures. And also from an audit perspective, you would want them to flow through your standard cost procedures. So when an invoice comes in, we might give our recommendation for approval on it, but otherwise it's going to follow your standard operating procedures for payments.
That's good. That's fine. So nothing special. Just the way it read, I wonder, was there something special being put?
No.
Okay.
Just nothing special, just your standard procedure so that we keep in line with all the state requirements and the city requirements.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Deb. And then 1.13, it says the project manager shall act as the owner during design and construction phases. So what I know, Deb, again, you've spoken, the mayor has spoken. We know that everything will be done in concert. But what authority is really being given in terms of decision making in 1.13?
Really, all of the decision making lies with you. I'm really there as your representative to help make sure your decisions are relayed to all of the right people on the team, because there will be a whole host of vendors and team members. And so my job is to make sure that your decisions are implemented.
Okay.
So when it says that just for clarity, maybe an example might be helpful. So just as an example, we had a call yesterday and the architect and engineer wanted some information about our requirements on the data center. So I contacted Andy. Andy and I talked through what some of your requirements were going to be, and then I represented it back to the architect and engineering team in a way that they need it, and to make sure that your decision. So Andy's really the technical expert on this, and I'm communicating and making sure that all of that information is getting to the right parties so it can be incorporated early in the process.
Okay. All right, and I understand what an owner's rep is. I think I was just surprised because the language said in 1.3 says shall act as owner, but clearly in 1.6 it tried to also sort of clarify that role as not an agent of the owner, but as an independent contractor. But it talks about acting on behalf of the owner. So as owner's rep, I'm fine, Deb. I really am, and I'm fine. I just wanted the clarification. The final thing is probably really technical. Okay. The final thing is probably really technical. So with 1.26 and 1.27, there's a repeat from 1.26 and 1.27. 1.27 is really repeated in 1.26. And if it's needed, I understand. I'm not the lawyer. I just saw it that way.
Okay. My computer's catching up with me. Just a moment. So 1.26 just references liability and it's a limitation of liability clause that's in our standard contract. And then 1.27 is really reference to if you decide that you want to cancel the project. So, I mean, let's just say something happens and you decide you're not going to move forward with the project, that you cancel the contract and then you only owe us for what we have expended to date. You don't owe us for anything beyond that cancellation.
Sure.
And it has the
concern
opportunity.
is that there's duplicate sentences. The 1.27 is duplicated. In
Oh, I see. The second sentence of 1.26.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
So I think that probably just a typographical error.
That's just a typographical error. And as you execute, if you sign the contract, if you want to just strike that line and initial it, I'm fine with that. I see what you're saying in the second sentence of 1.26. That's just a typographical error.
Okay, that's why I figured it was just technical, but
Yes.
yep. I'm not sure who's going to sign the contract, so I'll leave that in the hands of the office, and and Jackie, and we'll do whatever is best.
Yep. And I can send Jackie an updated version today. So.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fine. It is just a typographical error, so it's easy to remedy any way that we decide. It's the easiest if Deb just resends the contract without that duplicate sentence, and we'll make sure that it's signed in that manner.
Yep.
Okay.
My apologies for the oversight.
That's all right. Those are all the questions that I have. Anyone else have questions on this particular activity, this topic? If not, we'd consider a motion for this activity, this agreement.
I move we approve Core Planning Strategies Project Management Agreement.
Second.
Thank you, Don. Jim, were you the second?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, there's been a motion on the floor along with the second. Is there any further discussion? If not, we'll do a roll call vote.
Terry?
Please, Cindy?
Terry?
Yes. Yes.
Dean?
Yes.
Henriette?
Yes.
Ullman?
Yes, aye.
Peter?
Yes.
Agreement passes.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you, Deb, for being here with us today. And you're certainly welcome to continue in the meeting. And we're going to continue on with the agenda.
Great. Thank you.
Sure. Milestone Contractors. We have a Streetscape phase change order. It's a small change order. John, do you want to speak to this at all?
Sure, I'll do that. So you're all probably aware that phase 6 of the downtown streetscape project is going to be coming up here very soon. It's actually scheduled to start June 8th. This change order is one that we actually requested because they've since been removed, 2 really old, very tall Cobra head light fixtures on the block, the north side of Columbia between 4th and 5th Street. And that was one of the earliest stages of Streetscape that went in conjunction with the Courthouse Square project, where there were already street lights established there. So we did not include street lights on that portion of Columbia Street. So for consistency's sake, we'd like to just replace those to be consistent with the street lights for the rest of the Streetscape project. And so that's what this is. It's a $19,242 change order that would increase the project cost, and it also extends the substantial completion date by 3 days from November 25th to November 30th. And this is next to the old Huntington Bank building, in case you're curious. It's in that block right there.
Okay. Thank you, John. Any further comments on this particular change order? Questions or comments from the commissioners? Hearing none, we'd entertain a motion to approve this particular change order?
So moved.
Second.
So thank you. It's been properly moved and second. Any further discussion? Cindy, would you do the roll call?
Terry,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Henriot,
Aye.
Coleman,
Aye.
Peter.
Yes.
Change order passes 5-0.
Thank you. Thank you. So thanks, Jen, for presenting that information to us. And I know you guys will take care of the proper documents, and we'll keep moving with that project.
Thank you.
Yes. The next project, the next agenda item is the IWM Consulting Group proposal. And so we have this proposal that, John, you may speak to again if you'd like, and probably the mayor would like to speak to this as well.
Sure. So this is related to the future municipal building and the parking garage project. We're looking at the possibility of potentially expanding the footprint of that potential project, which would require the purchase of 3 additional properties. This is not determined yet. We're still in the process, but we are doing our due diligence, and as a result, we're going to do the phase 1 environmental. The phase 1 environmental is basically a document search. It doesn't involve any excavation or digging, anything like that on the site typically. And so we're just asking for approval to spend $3,000 for this phase 1 environmental study.
Okay. Any other comments on this topic?
Josh, just
Yes,
quickly.
Yes.
As John said, we're probably going to, we want to buy some additional property. We think it actually is cost effective to do that, and it will change the way we can design the police station and the parking garage and make the construction more efficient and effective. And so Deb had brought to our attention that before we purchase those properties, we should get a phase 1 done, see what it turns out, so we can send letters to IDAM from the very get-go before we actually become owners, and I forget exactly what she described to us, but to protect us from the very beginning. And so that's why we're doing this, because we have started the appraisal work for all those properties that we would like to acquire, and we're going to begin the negotiations with those property owners here in the pretty near future.
Thank you. So essentially, it's probably everything on the block except for the residences. Is that correct?
Well, if you go to the parking lot across from City Hall, obviously,
Right.
and then go to the east, it would be that building that's there, owned by Doug and Karen Cooper, and we've already talked to them, and they were interested in working with us. And John Schumann owns the one big parking lot there, and then he owns the next building that sits right there on the corner of 7th and Columbia. So it's purchasing those, maybe purchasing his Tempest Home building also, or working out an agreement for that to have parking in the garage, because obviously if he sells us both of his parking lot, that building loses some value because now it has no parking. So I've had a good private conversation, him and I, and we'll get something worked out. I'm confident of that. He wants to see the community be successful in the project, go forward. So I'm sure we'll get it worked out. But yes, that's the properties that we're looking at.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments from the commissioners? If not, is there a motion for approval?
I move we approve the phase 1 environmental site assessment by IWM Consulting Group.
Thank you, Don. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Shelley and Jim. So, Michelle, you'll choose who you like. Any further discussion? Cindy, would you please call the roll?
Harry,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Henriette,
Yes.
Holman,
Aye.
Peter.
Yes.
Proposal for the phase one with IWM passes 5-0.
Thank you. Okay, we will continue on with the agenda. We have a letter of agreement for construction management constructor services with Kettle Hut and Wilhelm. And so I know there's some background to this that might want to be shared. Deb may or may not have stayed with us, along with John and the mayor. So I kind of thought you probably did, Deb. I can't see everybody's picture yet, but I'm good.
Yeah.
Right.
So why don't I go ahead and start and give you some background to this. You may recall that I did a presentation to you back in February to the commission about the construction manager as constructor process. It is a relatively new construction delivery method available to cities and towns in the last couple of years, authorized by the state legislature. And it is one of the most common approaches that are taken. In fact, Purdue uses this type of agreement on almost all of their large projects right now. So it is tried and true by them as well. And through that construction manager as constructor, there was an RFP that was publicly noticed. It was issued out and noticed publicly, so anybody could have access to it, but we also distributed it to about 20 different companies trying to seek input or proposals from them of interest. We did receive 4 strong proposals. There was a team of people, many who are on this call today, who were involved in the review of those proposals and the scoring of those, as well as the overall scoring included the interview process. There were 4 proposers that were received. All 4 were interviewed, and the team felt strongly that Kettle Hut Construction and with the teammate of Wilhelm would be the best selection for the construction manager as constructor. Obviously, Kettle Hut has done lots of projects in Lafayette. They're based in Lafayette, and Wilhelm also has an office there. So it is. We went through a pretty extensive process to get to this recommendation. It is all consistent with state statute, and so there is state laws that we need to follow in order that selection and ultimately lay in front of you the letter of agreement. Let me just touch on why it's a letter of agreement and not the full contract. Since this is the first time that the city has gone under contract with a construction manager as constructor, it's going to take us the next 30-ish days to work through the terms of that agreement with Kettle Hut. And so we are continuing to work with them on that. At the same time, the design has started, and we want to really leverage the construction expertise of Kettle Hut in these early meetings. So what you're approving here essentially is what's called a pre-construction services for $50,000. But in that, we also had them outline some of the terms that we've already come to agreement with. One of those is their fee, and that their fee would be 2.5%. That is negotiated down from what their initial proposal was. So we feel like we have worked with them, and they've worked with us to get to a reasonable point and a good cost effective for the community. So with that, that really outlines why this is a letter of agreement versus a full contract. The full contract we intend to bring to you in June at the June meeting. So it will restate all of these things again, but we would like to go ahead and again leverage the expertise of the construction team early during the design phase. And so that's why we're bringing forth to you the $50,000 ask right now.
Thank you, Deb.
That Alex Gonzalez from Kettle Hut is on the call also, if he wants to add anything, and of course the mayor, if you'd like to speak to this also.
I guess Alex Gonzalez with Kettle Hut Construction. So I'm the project executive for the Wilhelm Kettle Hut team. I'll be with the job from now through completion. We're very happy, very excited to start the project with the city. And then with Deb, I think I'll echo the mayor's sentiment. That was a good extension of her contract. She will bring great value to the whole team. with our communication. But as Deb said, this is just kind of a preliminary letter of agreement. All the main terms are in here, and we're working through the rest of them. So it is our intent to have the full contract in your June meeting, so you guys can vote on that at that time and go from there.
Thank you, Alex. Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, just briefly, why this is important, as Deb said, we did an extensive RFP process, went through a scoring matrix and did our interviews, and we had a series of questions for the groups, and we're very excited to bring Kettle Hut on and Wilhelm. We believe they bring a tremendous amount of experience, community involvement, a great track record of working with our local building trades, and that's very important to us on this, what would be a signature project for our community. And getting them on now, I've learned over the last several years that, getting the construction people on early on with the architects is very important. So we have the architects using their creativity and all those things, and the construction people right there beside them from the get-go, thinking about cost, thinking about constructability, thinking about logistics and all of those things that can either save you money or cost you money or change the way the project might turn out or how long the project takes to build. And so we want these groups working hand in hand together right here from the very get-go. And as Deb said, we've actually already had a couple meetings before today, getting some preliminary things going. So I don't want to wait any longer to get the construction people involved in this dialogue. And that's why you have this smaller contract in front of you today. I don't want to lose 30 days of conversation without having the construction people at the table.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Questions from the commissioners and/or comments? John and/or Tony, maybe Deb, it's a very, very general question, so a very, very general answer will do. Obviously, Kettle Hut was one of the companies that interviewed. Were any other companies local to Lafayette or not?
We had the other groups that were involved was J.R. Kelly partnered with Pepper Construction. We had a company called Core that was out of Arizona, and then we had a company called Skillman, which is out of Indianapolis. Does not have a local office here.
Thank you for those specifics. I was just a little curious. That's all. Any other comments or questions from the commissioners? We would consider a motion to approve this letter of agreement that primarily covers the pre-construction work for a lump sum of $50,000.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Shelley. Thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, will you please call the roll, Cindy?
Terry,
Yes.
Beam,
Yes.
Henriette,
Yes.
Ullman,
Yes.
Peter.
Yes.
Agreement passes with Kettle Hut and Wilhelm, 5-0.
Thank you. Thank you. So congratulations to Kettle Hut and Wilhelm. And Alex, like we said earlier to Cindy, you're welcome to continue to stay in the meeting if you'd like. But you're also welcome to leave. We understand.
Thank you.
You could stay, Alex.
Yeah, I just turn my camera off so you think I'm here.
All right. So, John Collier, to me, I think we're at the tax abatement compliance. Is that correct?
That's correct. The fun part.
Pardon?
The fun part.
Okay. Yeah. And so Commissioners, we are going to try to take care of this activity as best we can, hopefully as quickly as we can. We also have a number of companies to look at. And with some of those companies, we have multiple compliance documents or requests, maybe I should say, or approvals. So we have some that have personal property and real estate. And so, Jackie, it's my understanding that we are fine as the commission to consider everything related to a company and then vote on that company with all four. Is that what you still would advise us to do?
Yes, that's correct. We can discuss each abatement individually, but then only have one motion and vote for finding compliance.
Okay, all right. Are there questions from the commissioners before we get started?
If I might, Josh, this is Dave Moulton, just a comment. I don't think that list is the revised full list that I see on my screen anyway. Just a comment.
I appreciate that.
That's correct. There was 3 added. The ETCL Pure, General Electric, and H38 East departments we got. I thought Dennis had emailed an updated agenda to everybody, so.
I think it probably did get updated to everybody except Andy, so sorry about that. Andy's the one that needed it the most.
Okay, so
work around that.
So, yeah, okay. Because the one that I'm looking at, I also, and it is the amended one, but I don't see H38 on it as well. Oh, no, yes, I do. Yes, I do. Okay. I just want to make sure I had a good copy. Yes, I do see on the amended H38 East Apartments right after General Electric. Okay, I'm good. Okay. Here's another question. So thank you, Dave, for your comment and making sure we saw and we used the correct list. John, are you going to talk about each company, or we're just kind of going to breeze through them, or what?
I'm going to just kind of run through each of the
That's fine.
Forms individually very quickly, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. So
Sure. One second, John. Not quite. 1 second. One more thing. So, Cindy, we still will take roll calls with each of these, right?
Correct.
Okay. All right. And so, commissioners, after John speaks, if you have questions, it'd be good to ask them quickly. And then if there are no questions, if we can make our motions and our seconds as quickly as possible. And again, include everything for that particular company. You can say 2 personal property and 2 real estate for Coleman Cable. Jackie, we're not doing the years, right?
Yeah, that's correct. You can just, as you stated.
Okay. All right. Right. So any further clarification we needed for the commissioners? Okay. I'm just going to let you guys know right now, I'm not asking any questions about any of these. So it's not going to be waiting on Josh, all right, to see what he's going to come up with. There's not a question I'm asking about any single one of these. All right. So, all right, there we are. Okay. So John, now, if there are no other comments or questions by the commissioners for this process, we can just get started.
All right, I'll jump right in. I will also mention that Kim Murray from Greater Lafayette Commerce is on this call as well. So
okay. Yes.
Questions that I can't answer, maybe Kim can help us. So we'll jump right in with Conic Incorporated, which has a total of 3 tax abatements, 1 real estate and 2 personal property. The real estate is for 10 years. One of the personal properties is 10 years and 1 is 7 years. The staff and Greater Lafayette Commerce both have reviewed these. We believe that they are in substantial compliance and would recommend your recommendation to the City Council.
Thank you, John.
Is that enough, Jackie? That's enough for what I shared?
Yeah, that is sufficient, yes.
Right. Questions or comments or motions? One of the 3.
I move we approve Arconic as being in compliance with their their abatements.
Second.
Thank you, Don. Thank you. Any further comments? We will call the roll.
Terry,
Aye.
Dean,
Yes.
Henriette,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes?
Peter.
Yes.
Compliance approved.
Thank you. Okay, John, we're back to you.
Okay, the next four are from Coleman Cable, which is also known as Southwire. They have a total of 2 personal property and 2 real estate tax abatements that they've submitted compliances for. While there are a couple that don't meet full compliance, those were certainly out of their control due to a downturn in the market. We still believe that they are within substantial compliance and would recommend that you approve those. And they did submit a letter, 3 that didn't fully meet compliance, that letters were included.
Yes. Thank you, John. Questions, comments, or motions?
Motion to approve the Coleman Cable LLC personal property tax and real estate tax exemption forms 2 apiece.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Would we call the roll, please?
Terry,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Henriette,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Peter.
Yes.
Coleman Cable's tax abatement is in compliance.
Thank you. Okay, John.
Okay, all right, the next one is for ETCL Pure Lafayette. This is a real estate tax abatement from 2014 for 10 years. This is the property owner of the General Electric business. So we believe that they are in substantial compliance as well. Would recommend that you vote to recommend approval.
Thank you, John. Questions, comments, or motions?
I move to approve the real estate and personal property on H38 East Apartments.
Thank you, Don.
Well, wait, we were doing ETCL.
We were doing
ETCL.
ETCL Pure Lafayette. I apologize.
Okay.
Real estate instead of property, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. So we are looking at a motion and a second on ETCL Pure LLC real estate tax abatement compliance. Questions, comments, or motions? Roll call, please.
Terry,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Henriette,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Peter.
Yes.
Compliance approved for ETCL Pure.
Thank you.
Okay, the next one is for General Electric Company, personal property for 10 years. And we believe that they have met their substantial compliance as well. And recommend that you recommend approval.
Thank you, John. Questions, comments, or motions?
I move we approve the personal property abatement for GE Company.
Second.
Thank you, Don. Thank you, Shelley. We'll call the roll.
Terry,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Henriette,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Peter.
Yes.
Compliance for GE approved.
Thank you. Okay. John, H38 East.
Yes. So this one is for 38 East Apartments LP. It's a real estate tax abatement for 10 years. They have fully met their investment projection. They have not met their job creation pledge yet, but that's because they haven't even opened yet. They were going to create 3 jobs, and once that is open, they will create those jobs. So we again believe that they are within substantial compliance, and we would recommend that you recommend approval.
Thank you, John. Questions, comments, or motions for this particular abatement compliance?
I move that the abatement for H38 East Apartments be approved.
Thank you, Don. Say a second.
Second.
Michelle, did you get that? Whoever second?
I did, yeah.
Thank you. Okay. All right. All right. Yes, TJ. Okay. Roll call, please.
Harry,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Henriette,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Peter.
Yes.
Abatement for H38 is in compliance.
Thank you. All right, John.
The next one is for JAK2 Partners LLC. This is basically Kirby Risk. It's for real estate tax abatement for 10 years. And they have exceeded their projected investment and also their job creation pledge. So we recommend that you recommend approval.
Thank you. Questions, comments, or emotions?
JAK2 Partners, 2 abatements for real estate.
Thank you, Don.
Second.
Thank you, Shelley. Roll call, please.
Harry,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Henriette,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Peter.
Yes.
JAK compliance approved.
Thank you.
Okay, next is James Investment. It's Lafayette Auto Supply. It's a real estate tax abatement for 10 years. They have met and exceeded their investment projection as well as their employment projection. So we recommend that you recommend approval.
Thank you.
I move we approve the James Investment LLC 2 real estate abatements.
Thank you, Don. Your second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Harry,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Henriette,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Peter.
Yes.
James Investment compliance approved.
Okay. Next is the Life Songs, correct?
Correct. Lifesong Brands Incorporated and Lifesong Properties also. This is Copper Moon. There are a total of 4 abatements and 2 personal property, 2 real estate. The 2 personal properties are both 7-year abatements. The real estates are both 10-year abatements. They have also exceeded their investment projections and their employment projections, and we would recommend that you recommend approval.
Thank you. So a quick question for Jackie. So Jackie, we need to make sure and call out Lifesong Properties separate from Lifesong Brands, Inc., right?
We do, because they're 2 separate legal entities.
Sure. Okay, but we're still going to include all of it together. So whoever makes that motion, if you make sure and do that.
I move approval for Lifestone Brands, Inc., their 2 personal property and 1 real estate abatement And do you want to do the properties now as well?
Yes.
And the Lifelong Properties LLC real estate abatement.
Thank you, Don. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Terry,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Henriette,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Peter.
Yes.
Lifesong Brands and Lifesong Properties are approved to be in compliance.
Thank you. All right, Nanshan.
Right, Nanshan America Advanced Aluminum Real Estate Tax Abatement for 10 years. They have far exceeded their investment projections and their employment projections, and so we would recommend that you recommend approval.
Thank you.
Move to approve Nanshan America Advanced Aluminum Real Estate.
Thank you, TJ. Thank you, Shelley. Roll call, please.
Terry,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Henriette,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Peter.
Yes.
Nanshan America approved for tax abatement compliance.
Thank you. Ray Magnet.
Okay, so now we have personal property tax abatements for Ray Magnet Wire Company. Both of them are for 7 years. This is another one that did not meet their employment or their projected investment, but we will say that they have closed down other plants throughout the country and consolidated their efforts here in Lafayette. So we're very grateful for that. And again, this is due to the market, and it's out of their control. So we would recommend that you recommend approval. We believe that they are substantially compliant.
Thank you, John. And they included a letter with their requests as well. Yes.
They did.
Yeah. All right. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve Ray Magnet Wire, Inc. tax abatement to be in tax abatement compliance, personal property tax. 2 of them.
Thank you, TJ.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Terry,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Henriette,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Peter.
Yes.
Ray Magnet approved to be in compliance.
Thank you. We have just a few more. All right, Stoddard Development.
Yes, Stoddard Development LRC. They have, we believe, met their compliance substantially. It's a little bit under what the projections were, but it's a 10-year abatement that didn't really begin until 2015. So they're on the way. And so we would recommend that you recommend approval.
Thank you, John. The motion?
Move to approve Stoddard Development LLC real estate to be in compliance with tax abatement.
Thank you, TJ. Thank you, Shelley. Roll call, please.
Terry,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Henriette,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Peter.
Yes.
Stoddard approved to be in compliance.
Thank you. Subaru of Indiana.
I move that be approved and in compliance the 5 personal property and 4 real estate for Subaru of Indiana automobile.
Second.
Thank you. That was Don and Jim, right?
Yes.
And John, do you want to share your skills, or do we want to just skip it?
No, Don made it very succinct, so that's good. I will tell you,
Okay.
There was 1 real estate and 2 personal properties that have expired since last year. So this is actually a reduction in the number of abatements that they had from last year.
All right. Good news. Good news. And so there's a staff recommendation to approve, and we just need the roll call vote.
Harry,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Henriette,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Peter.
Yes.
You're in compliance with their abatement. Approved.
Thank you. Thanks. And so according to my list, this is the last one, Tate and Lyle. Is that correct, John?
That is correct. And
Fantastic.
here we have 3 personal property for 7-year abatements. And again, they haven't met fully the projections that they submitted initially, but again, they're kind of out of their control. I will say that they have created more jobs than they pledged in the combined 2 plants, but one got more jobs than the other. So it looks like they didn't meet, but they really did. So staff reviewed and believes that you recommend approval for substantial.
Thank you. Is there a motion on this particular tax abatement compliance?
Motion.
I move that Tate and Lyle agree with America. There's 3 personal property abatements be in compliance.
Thank you, John. Thank you, TJ. Roll call, please.
Harry,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Henriette,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Peter.
Yes.
Approved, Tate and Lyle are in compliance.
Thank you. Thank you to commissioners for making it through those tax abatement compliances. Thank you, Cindy, for your help with all the roll call votes as well.
Sure.
I will just clarify that this is only a partial list because there was an extension provided to these folks till June 15th to submit versus May. So this is only about maybe half to 2/3 of them. We'll have the remainder of these due at the June RDC meeting. So more fun.
Thank you, John. I was hoping this was more like 80% of the list.
It might be.
Wow.
It's more than half, I think, but maybe not quite 2/3.
Okay. All right. John, perchance, are you doing a director's report as well?
Yes, I am. I'll try to go quickly. I've been in a meeting a long time. Okay. All right. So Dennis wanted me to share a handful of things. First of all, the Main Street Streetscape Phase 3 project is well underway. If you haven't been up the far east end of Main Street, then you should go up. Work is progressing. 10th Street is currently closed between Main and Ferry for our project. And unfortunately, it's also closed between Main and Columbia for a vector project to replace gas lines that we didn't realize was going to happen at the same time. So it's a completely separate project, but it looks like it's all our project. So anybody's complaining that all of 10th Street is closed, that wasn't the original plan. That's just how it worked out because Vector came in and did their project. So we're moving quite quickly on that project. I think the weather has cooperated so far. And we hope that things will continue to progress positively on that one. The Streetscape Phase 6 project, which we change order for earlier in the meeting, is the section of Columbia Street next to the county office building and the block between Columbia and South Street on 3rd Street will start June 8th. That project should finish up by October 8th, is the hope. So that will involve some road closures, at least temporarily, intermittently throughout. But the goal is to try to keep Columbia Street open throughout and 3rd Street open throughout. But 3rd Street may be down to 1 lane on that particular block. Well, in fact, it will be 1 lane. And on a couple of isolated incidences, they may have to close 3rd Street completely. But we'll go through that closure process through the Board of Works to do that. The Ellsworth Project, you've probably heard or been seeing some information on that on the news lately. That's the development project that's being done over here on the corner of South and 5th Street, catty corner from the Pullman Station project on what is currently the Regions Bank parking lot. So that got approval from the Area Plan Commission the other night. And then Economic Development Commission also approved it. Next, it will go to City Council, and then it will come back to RDC after that. So that project is moving along very nicely as well. The Jefferson Neighborhood Plan is underway with MKSK, doing a similar plan, kind of a neighborhood plan like was done with Wabash Avenue neighborhood last year. So they held a handful of stakeholder meetings, and that project will be ongoing for the next few months. 3rd and 4th Street study to look at converting those two streets from one-way to two-way is underway. We've had a handful of stakeholder virtual meetings as well with some of the business owners along that street. In fact, they've had 3 this week, or have had 2 of the 3 this week. The 3rd one will be tonight, actually at 6 o'clock. So those are, I think we're getting good feedback. Again, this is not designing anything yet. This is studying whether or not we think it's feasible or practical to convert those streets from one-way to two-way. The design phase will come later. Dennis has been small business assistance loans that you've probably read about also. He's dispersed, well, we had 110 applications. 50 of those were eligible, which means they were within the district that was required. Many of those are through the approval process. About 40, I think, have already gone through that and their first installment of their first payment. And then the remainder will probably be coming in over the next couple of weeks, we hope. And again, this is a new CDBG federal funding money that was provided, and it was about $400,000 that we will be distributing. Finally, just want to mention that Randy Bond, who was the Tippecanoe County School Corporation representative on this commission, has resigned from that school board, and so we'll be looking to find a new person on the board to take his place. Other than that, I think that's it. Mayor, I'm not sure if you had anything else you wanted to share.
The mayor just indicated he had to jump onto a noon Zoom meeting for Wabash River Enhancement Corp.
No problem. All right, then I think that's all we have, unless you all have questions.
Okay, thank you, John, for presenting that report. Are there questions from the commissioners? Okay. Hearing none, then I think that we now will file the director's report as presented. I think that's what we're back to a practice of doing. Okay. We're at the point of the meeting for the claims. So the claims were sent to you as a commissioner, and I hope you've had an opportunity to review and examine the vouchers on the claims. Are there any questions or comments regarding the claims?
I will refer any.
I'm sorry, who was that?
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, TJ.
I move to approve the May claims of $463,000, $463,449.97.
Second.
Thank you, TJ, and thank you, Shelley, as well. No further questions about the claims? Then we'll have a roll call, one last roll call, please. Cindy also may have jumped off the phone.
I'm here. Sorry. Terry? Sorry.
Yes.
Dean?
Yes.
Henriette?
Yes.
Ullman?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Claims passes 5-0.
Thank you, Cindy. Okay, I know that there are a couple of phone numbers that I've seen shown up on the screen. Or is there any public comment for the meeting? Okay, if we remember last meeting, Dennis had me read this paragraph regarding public comment. Jackie, Michelle, or Cindy, is that what we want done today again or not?
I don't think it's necessary to read again. It's on the agenda on the screen.
Fantastic. Thank you. So is there any further business to come before the commission today? Hearing none, I would presume that Michelle will be in touch with us regarding signing documents in whatever way she prefers. Cindy, again, thanks for your help with the roll call vote. Thanks to all the commissioners for your time today and all of the supporting folks who are here, Tim and Jackie, and there's several other names. And thanks for Alex and Deb being here as well. We appreciate everyone's time. We would look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Jim. Thank you. Thank you. And Cindy, we're going to vote that roll call. That legal, Jackie? Okay.
Sorry, what was it?
I said we're going to avoid that roll call. Is it legal or not?
We can go ahead and do it real quick and then we'll be done.
Let's do it to stay in line with what we're supposed to do. Okay, Cindy, please.
Terry,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Henriette,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Peter.
Yes.
Meeting adjourned.